you ever had the feeling that your body is asleep but your mind is awake? You know what's going on around you, but there's no way for you to move. And as much as you try, you cannot wake up. This strange feeling is called sleep paralysis. Today I'm going to talk about this sleeping disorder, its causes, and my own experiences. Sleep paralysis is a sleeping disorder that occurs when you're falling asleep or awakening. According to an article by Chris French, in normal sleep, people's body and brain activity slow down as they fall asleep into a deep sleep, then speed up again as they enter rapid eye movement sleep, or REM sleep. During REM sleep is where the most vivid dreams occur. This cycle takes about 2 hours and repeats multiple times throughout the night. When we enter REM sleep, we enter a state of paralysis. We can't move, and they say this is so we do not act out during our dream state. And this helps because we could endanger other people or ourselves. Then in normal sleep, the paralysis stops before we actually become consciously awake. But when someone experiences sleep paralysis, this is where the sleeping cycle gets off track. Our mind is awake and somewhat aware of what's going on, but our muscles are still paralyzed. This is where things start to feel strange. People realize that they are awake, but they aren't sure why they can't move, and most people start to panic. Then sometimes the fact that we are still asleep, it causes hallucinations. For example, that something or someone is in the room, or that some people feel like there's something on their chest and that they can't breathe. So this feeling of paralysis can last anywhere from seconds to minutes to even hours. There's an estimate of percentage of people who experience this from 5 to 60%, and the large range is most likely from the differences in the survey method. Many people do not experience it at all. Some people experience it a few times in their life, and there are a small amount of people who experience it more frequently. Sleep paralysis goes way back. There are legends and myths about it long before it was ever studied. Many people thought it had something to do with supernatural. And in 1876, psychologist Weir Mitchell was the first to identify it with his old school but accurate definition. The subject awakes to consciousness of his environment, but is incapable of moving a muscle. Lying to all appearance still asleep, he is really engaged in a struggle for movement, fraught with acute mental distress, but could he manage to stir, the spell would vanish instantly. A newer study suggests that it is related to REM sleep and occurs at sleep onset. Researcher Julia Santamaro and Christopher French say that irregular sleep habits, overtiredness, sleep deprivation are all considered to be predisposing factors to sleep paralysis. This may be because such events disrupt the sleep-wake cycle. Then this causes you to experience just a part of the REM cycle. As David McCarty, a sleep researcher in Louisiana State University, explained, in REM sleep you're unconscious, experiencing a variety of sensory experiences, and almost all of your muscles are paralyzed. In sleep paralysis, however, two of the key REM components are there, but you are not unconscious. Sleep paralysis can also be linked to mental conditions, if you sleep on your back, taking certain medications, and other sleeping problems. It's also said to run in families. After I told my parents about my experiences, my dad had told me that it happened to him twice before. Both times he experienced symptoms of not being able to move or talk, and the one time he was trying to think of how to get out of where he was, but he couldn't picture it. He could only think of his old house. My experiences, my first experience with sleep paralysis was I was in high school, and I was sleeping up in my old room, and I felt like I couldn't move or talk, and I looked at the edge of my bed, and I saw a dark figure standing there, but I couldn't wake up. And I tried to yell, but I couldn't. Then the next experience, I was in college at school, and I took a nap before night class, and I heard my roommates downstairs, but I couldn't move or talk or wake up. And I also had hallucinations, and the room was changing, but I was still laying there asleep. I couldn't move or anything. And then after that, I thought I'd see what it was. I looked it up and I researched it, and I learned what it was. So the next time it happened, I was in my living room. I just fell asleep watching TV, and I thought I was awake, and I heard the TV going, and I thought I was watching it, but I couldn't move or do anything. And then I realized what was going on, and I started to panic, and I was trying to wake up, and then I felt like I couldn't breathe, and after I woke up, I was relieved, but I felt like I couldn't breathe. Thank you.